Hello everyone and welcome. I will model this lovely comfortable armchair showing you the modeling process, the materials and adding the hair and adjusting it and finally rendering it out. So let's get started. So I will begin. This is a new scene and I will delete this cube and I will add a plane. Shift A mesh plane. Okay. So I will adjust the dimension of this first. Press N on my keyboard and the width is 70 centimeter and the depth is 80 centimeter and the height. For the height, I will extrude this. Press Tab and E to extrude and I will enter 80. So this is the overall reference dimension. Okay, so what I will do is duplicate this, Shift D and push this back. And this one, I will rename this to REF. This is going to be my reference. And I will click on this to disable the selection. Okay, so I cannot select it. And now this one, I will start to work on it. And I will quickly rename this. I'll give it a name seat. And I'll start to edit this one. Press tab and I will start with the seat height. So I'll take this down to 40. I'll start with 40 centimeter and the remaining I'll select and delete. Click on vertices. Okay, so now I will switch to the orthographic view. The easy way to do it is this is where I want to see it in the orthographic. So just click on this X. All right. So this one, I will push this forward. Okay. And I will press E to extrude all the way to the top. Okay. So I'm creating, this is going to be the back and this is going to be the seat. Okay. So I will go back to the orthographic view and I will push this down. And this is supposed to go all the way back. But before doing it, first I would like to make some adjustments while this is straight in the view. Okay. So let me add some thickness to it. I'll go to the modifiers and add a solidify modifier and I'll increase the thickness. Go back to the orthographic view. In my wireframe view, I'll just increase it and turn on even thickness. Okay, because the scale is off, so I'm getting this uneven thickness. So what I can do is remove this modifier and I'll quickly apply the scale. Control A and click on scale. As you can see now it's all 111. And now I will add the solidify modifier and increase the thickness and I can check this even thickness. So now you can see the thickness is even, but this is way too much. I'll reduce it. Okay, so I will click on this and apply it. Okay, so I've collapsed the modifier. So now this is all clean and I will adjust the shape from the front. Press tab. I'll go to the wireframe and I'll select all of these vertices and scale them in. Let's take a look. It's about fine. And now I will add more loop cuts. So Control R. Use the mouse wheel to increase the count. Click and then right click to leave it in the center. And I can scale this outwards. So press S and press X. I can just scale it out in the X somewhere over here. Okay. Now I need to add more loop cuts in the center. So Control R and I will add 3 more loop cuts. So click to accept it and then right click to leave it in the center. Okay, and now I will adjust the shape of it. So I'll click and drag, and actually this is the maximum height. Okay, so I will bring it down. I'll select all of these, press G and Z to move it down. Okay, same thing I will do with these ones, G and Z, and move it down just to keep the flow. And then I can take this one. Actually, no, I need to take these two and bring it down just a little bit to keep that flow. Okay, this is good. Same thing I will do with this one. I'll go and do it in the top view, and I'll switch to the wireframe so I can easily select and push it back. And then I'll select these two and push it back slightly. And then I'll select these three from both sides and push it back slightly just to keep that flow going on. Let me take a look in the perspective. This is fine. Okay, so I'll add more loop cuts in the center over here, but before that I will adjust the height of it. So let me select all of these, and I'll go to the orthographic view, sorry, and just push it down slightly. And now I will add Control R, and I'll increase with the mouse wheel. So click to accept it, and I can just bring it up over here, and then left click. So this is all done. Nice. Now I will create the hole for the button tufting. So I will begin to select these top vertices, and two from the top and three from the bottom. So I'm selecting alternative, and again two over here. And now these selected vertices, I will come over here to vertex, and I'll click on bevel vertices and just drag the mouse out. So this much is enough. Okay, and now I will insert this, press I to insert. And now this newly insert face, I will push them in. Okay, and I would like to scale them in further. But when I press S to scale, they're scaling all together uniformly. I want to scale them individually. To achieve it, come over here to transform pivot point and click on individual origins. And now I'll try to scale it and see the result. Press S to scale, and you can see this is what I want. Okay, so I'll push them in just a little bit more, and I'll switch this back to the default, the median point. And now these ones, I will push them out. Press G and move them in the y-axis. Okay, this is good. Maybe even more, just a little bit more. Okay, this is fine. And now I can take all of this and rotate this. So I'll go to the orthographic view in the wireframe, select all of these. First I will push them forward, and I'll try to rotate this and bring this back, rotate it a little bit further, and push this back somewhere over here. Okay, maybe I can just push them down a little bit more. Now let's take a look. Okay, and now I will apply the subdivision modifier to fine tune it further. So go to the add modifier and click on subdivision surface, and I'll increase the level. Okay, this is looking fine, and here it needs more loop cut. So Control R, click, and then just bring the mouse forward. Okay, this is fine. And then this, I would like to reduce the curviness over here. So I will select, first I will disable the smooth display. So come over here and click on this. So now I can see the original mesh, and alt click. It will select the entire edge loop. And now I can turn this on, and I will bevel it, press Ctrl B. So I can see the result. And I can use the mouse wheel to add one more loop cut in the center. Okay, so maybe about here. Okay, I can further adjust. I can bring this up and then I can just slide this, make adjustment. Maybe 8 centimeter is fine. Okay, and now I can add one edge loop for the bottom. So Control R, click, and then just to bring this down, just to make it a little bit tighter at the bottom. And now I will adjust the shape. So I'll select all of these and okay, I'll select it in the wireframe, and just to adjust the shape, I'll push this down. Okay, and then take this one, push this down further. Okay, and then these end vertices, these ones, then I'll select these vertices and I can just push this up a little bit. Okay, so now I will work on the legs. I'll start with a circle, Shift A, mesh, and I'll click on circle, scale it down all the way down, and then I will press tab. Vertices are already selected. Press F to create a face, and then just E to extrude it out. Okay, so now I will position this in my top view. Bring this over here. Switch to the solid view, and the thickness is way too much, so I will reduce the thickness. The way to reduce the thickness is I'll press S to scale, and I will press Shift Z, so I can only scale this in X and Y, ignoring the Z. The way to ignore the Z is press the shortcut Shift Z. Okay, so now I can easily adjust the thickness of this, maybe somewhere here, and I'll just push this up in the Z. Okay, and I'll switch to the front. Okay, so now I will make adjustment. So I'll go into the edit mode and select all of these, and I'll bevel it, press Ctrl B, and I can increase with my mouse wheel. I can add more detail to it, and I can further increase it. This is fine. 8. Okay, and then this one over here, I will press Ctrl R and bring this down, and then scale this out. Okay, and then the top one, I will just scale this in just to give it a shape. And then this one, Alt click, and now I can press Control B to bevel, and then just to smooth the shape out, reduce the number of cuts. This much is fine, just to smooth out the entire flow. Okay, this is fine. Okay, now I can position this. I'll press R to rotate it at an angle, and then I'll adjust it from the side view as well. Just rotate this in, push this forward just a little bit. I can bring this out further. Okay, so now I can mirror this on the other side. But before I do it, I will bring the pivot point to the center of this origin. Okay, so right click and set origin, and origin to 3D cursor. So it will, this is the 3D cursor over here. So right click, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. And now I can apply the mirror modifier. So come over here, click, and click on mirror. Okay, I forgot to apply the scale. So remove the mirror modifier and press Ctrl A and click on rotation and scale. All right, now I will apply the mirror modifier. So now it is perfectly mirrored. Okay, this is fine. So the front legs are done. I think this is I think I can adjust this a little bit more. Just bring this out slightly. Okay, the front legs are done. Now I will work on the back legs. So I will duplicate this, Shift D to duplicate and right click, and I will mirror the position. Press Ctrl M and press Y. Y is this green line. So press Y and then click to accept it. Okay, and I'll just push this forward, and I would like to rotate this. Select all of these and rotate it, and I will push them in. Select, go to the solid view, and I will slide them in. Press G and X. Okay, so now the shape of this seat looks a little bit weird. It needs to come in a bit more. So let's take a look and adjust the shape of this seat, and then I can adjust the position of the back legs. So at the moment, it's way too wide from this center point. So let's adjust this. So I'll press Tab and I'll switch to the wireframe, and I'll try to select these vertices at the center over here, and I will scale them in. If I scale like this, it won't work. So I'll enable this function, proportional editing. Shortcut is O. So I'll press O, and when I press the scale key, you will see this circle appears. This circle can be controlled with the help of mouse wheel. I can increase and decrease with the mouse wheel. Okay, and I'll drag the mouse to scale this in, and if I use the mouse wheel, I can increase or decrease the effect. So whatever is in the circle, it will be affected, and whatever is outside the circle will be ignored. So let's increase the circle, and then I will press X for the x-axis. So I can only scale this in the x-axis, and now you can see the shape is looking much better. So we can increase or decrease what we want to include. So let's say this much is looking better about here. Yeah, this is fine. And now I can adjust the position of this leg a little bit more. I'll just push them out slightly. Oops, I will disable this. I don't need it anymore. Okay, now I will work on the armrest. So again, I will start with a circle. So I will press Shift A, Mesh, Circle, scale it down about here, and push it up in my orthographic view somewhere over here. I switch to the top view, wireframe mode. Just bring it over here, scale this down further. Okay, and then I can press Tab and press F to create a face, and then press E to extrude it out. Okay, so let's reduce the thickness further, scale it down. Yeah, this much is enough. So I'll come back here and I'll start to extrude this. So press E to extrude, or I can hold the control key and bring the mouse pointer and then right click. Extrude to the mouse pointer location, and then I can just I can readjust the position just to keep the flow, just the flow of it, or I can just dissolve these vertices. Okay, so now I will add the subdivision modifier to it to control the shape. Okay, press Tab and come over here, Control R, and I can increase, add loop cut to hold the shape. Same thing I'll do with this one. I can turn this off, Control R, bring this all the way out, turn this back on, and you can see the shape looking much better. Okay, and now from the front, I would like to push this out a little bit. So I'll select all of these, maybe these ones, and push them out slightly. I can turn on this one and push them out slightly and adjust with the mouse wheel. You can see, so I'm adjusting it. Okay, disable this. So this is fine. And I'll take this and I will mirror this. So first I will bring the pivot point to the center of the origin. First I will collapse the scale, Control A, and click on scale and right click origin to 3D cursor. Okay, so the pivot point is over here, and now I can mirror, click on add modifier, and I can add the mirror modifier. Please select everything. Okay, this is looking fine. Over here, I think this needs to have a little bit more smoother curve. So what I can do is select all of these from both sides. Okay, and I will slide them down. So press G twice, G, slide them down, and you can see the shape. Yeah, same thing I'll do again with all of these selected. And then I'll press G twice again, G. Okay, this is looking fine. Same thing I can do with this one. So I will select all of these vertices and I will select all of these one, hold shift to add to the selection and press G twice, G, just push this back. Okay, and then in the wireframe mode, I'll select the corner vertices and press G, slide them back. Just to reduce the pointed curviness, just to smooth out a little bit more. Now this is looking much better. Okay, so now I am ready to add the most interesting part of this tutorial, and that is hair. Okay, so first I will hide the reference. Okay, and I will select this seed part and come over here to the particle properties and click the plus to add a particle system. Okay, this is great. And now I will click on here. Whoa. Okay, so we have something now. I'll reduce the hair length all the way down to 2 centimeter. Yeah, this is fine. This is looking good. And segment 5 is fine. Scroll down, expand the renderer, increase this to 5. And I'll do the same thing for the viewport display so I can see. At the moment it's 2, so I'll increase this to 5 as well. Okay, and now I will expand the children and click on this interpolated, and now I can see more of it, the children's. Scroll down and I can increase this display amount. Let me expand this window. So display amount, I'll increase this to 100 as well so I can see better. Scroll down and I'll expand the clumping, and for the clumping I can add very tiny bit of the value, maybe 0.02, very subtle, add some clumpiness to it. Okay, now I will expand the roughness. I'll click on this roughness to expand the settings of it. Scroll down so I can see more of it, and the value that I will be adjusting is this random. So I'll add a value 0.02. Okay, now you can see some difference. And now I will expand this kin, and at the moment it's the type is nothing. So I will click this and select curl. Okay, this is crazy. I will adjust this. This amplitude, this is bringing the craziness over here. So I'll reduce this to 2. I'll make it 3. Okay, and I'll reduce the clump value to 0. This frequency, I'll change this and reduce this to 0.5. Okay, I'll expand this hair shape, scroll down, and I'll reduce this root diameter to 30. We will not see much of a difference of this at the moment. Once we render it, we will see the effect. Okay, so the tip, I can increase this to 5. Okay, fine. So the settings I have done. And now let me enable the rendering. Okay, so at the moment this is EV. So let's change this EV to cycles. So come over here to render properties and change the render engine from EV to cycles. Now you can see the result. And I'll change this to GPU. Okay, so this is looking great already. And now I will work on, and now I will add the buttons to these holes. Come over here. For now, I will disable this particle system so I can see better. I will create Shift A mesh and I'll create a UV sphere. I'll reduce this to 12. Okay. Reduce this to 10 and just scale it down. Scale it down and I'll scale this in the Z as well. This is looking fine. I'll bring this up. So I'll bring this closer and rotate this along the X in 90 degrees. So I'll take this, take a look in the front view and just position it. So just position it roughly in front of it and push this in, and I will go into the right view and just rotate it. So let's duplicate this. Okay, and then duplicate it here as well. And now I will select both of these, go into the right view, push them in. Okay, push them in further, and I can rotate them. And I can duplicate this and bring this down somewhere over here. Let me check. Okay, so I will push this and adjust it roughly. Select, and this is fine. So let me duplicate this one, bring it all the way here, and this needs to come out in Y. Okay, and duplicate this and adjust it over here. So all of these, I can merge them into a single object. I'll select Shift click to add to the selection. And now I can press the shortcut Control J. Okay, and then right click, origin to geometry, just to center it as per the geometry. Okay, this is fine. So first, let's enable the hair. Okay, now let's adjust the hair so that I can see these buttons. So come over here to particle edit, cut it. Now I'm trying to cut this all the way out. Okay, and the same thing I'll do over here. Same thing I will do over here. Just to remove some of these hairs, just to see how this looks. Okay, come back to the object mode. Let's see the results. And I'll try to bring these forward actually. Select the button and press G and Y just to see how that's gonna work. Yeah, that looks fine, but I will reduce the size of it. This is way too much. So select everything, come over here to individual origins and then scale them in. Okay, I'll change this back to the default. And yeah, and now I will add material to it. Okay, so I'll begin with this one. Come over here to materials, click a new material, and let me give this a beigeish color. I'll switch to material preview, turn on this one. Yeah, I can increase, decrease some of the saturation. Okay, this is fine. And now I will add wood finish to this. Now I will take this texture and I'll make this dark. Press Ctrl M. I'll adjust it to make this a dark finish. Okay, click OK. And now I will save this image and click OK. I'll go back to Blender. Okay, and then I will switch to the shading workspace. Zoom in. I'll click on this handle and I will click new to create a new material. Okay, this is good. And I'll deselect everything and just click on the principled BSDF and use the shortcut Control T. So this will give me all of these nodes, and this image texture, I will click open to load the texture. Okay, so now I have opened the wood image, and instead of UV, I will connect generated to the vector. Okay, and this is fine. And now I will duplicate this material, come over here, just middle mouse and just click and drag. Okay, I'll rename this wood arm. This is for the arm. Select this, I'll select the leg, and from the drop down I'll click on this wood and I'll click on this button to make it unique. And now this I will just rename this to wood legs. And now I can come over here and I can adjust this. I will change this from flat to box. Okay, this is fine. And this one I'll select, and from the drop down I'll click on wood leg and see the result. And this one also I will duplicate it, and this one I will call this leg back. This is for the back, and let's adjust the rotation of it. So come over here, click and drag, just adjust the rotation of it. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, and now I'll go back to the layout and I'll turn on the render preview. I'll switch to the camera view, press 0 and adjust the camera. So press N on the keyboard and click on view and expand this. Check this to lock the camera to the view, and now I can position it the way I want it to be. Just about here. Okay, and I'll uncheck this and just zoom in, and now I can click on this and right click, shade auto smooth, and then same thing I'll do with these ones, shade auto smooth, shade auto smooth. And this one, the buttons, I will apply the same material. So I'll rename this seat rename this, sorry, to C. And this finish I will copy and apply to the buttons over here. Okay, so they follow the same finish. I can add a flooring to this. So press Shift A, mesh, plane. I can see some shadows. I'll switch to the perspective view. Okay, and then I will press Tab and just come over here. I will go back to the normal solid view so I can work a little bit faster. G to move it back, and then press E to extrude straight up. Okay, select these two vertices and just bevel it. Okay, this is fine, and I can increase this. Let me check in the camera. I'll push this all the way out. Okay, and I'll right click and shade auto smooth. Okay, and I'll switch to the, let me adjust the camera a little bit. I don't like missing the leg. So come over here, click on view, adjust the camera. I just push it up slightly. Let me do it here. Okay, this is fine. And then, okay, so now I am ready to render this out. But before rendering it, it's very important. Anything that is hidden in the scene should also be hidden from the renderer. At the moment, if you turn this on, it is visible in the camera. So we can just hide this and make sure to disable it in the render. Okay, and now I will start the render. Go to render, and then I will click on render image. All right, the rendering is complete. This is the result. I hope you learned something from it. So go ahead, practice, play with the hair settings, do crazy stuff with it, and don't forget to give me your feedback. Give a thumbs up if you like the video, and see you next time with another video. So until then, take care and bye bye.